I read a post from a mum the other day on social media and it absolutely stopped me in my tracks. She explained how her daughter, who is 10 years old, was in the car with her. They were having an argument and the daughter undid her seatbelt, got out of the car, ran off and could not be found for almost 30 minutes. Now, this girl was 10 years old and this mum had hit her breaking point. Her daughter wasn't coping. She said things were going from bad to worse at school. She was glued to her screens and constantly lashing out, and the mum snapped. The post that she shared online was absolutely raw and heartbreaking, but so familiar to many of us. So today I want to talk about what is really going on in moments like these and why common parenting advice, which was absolutely bombarding this post, was unhelpful, wrong, outdated, and actually would have made things 1,000 times worse. And of course, I want to talk about what to do instead in those moments, especially if you're raising a neurodivergent teen, which was the case here. I always forget to do this. Just in case you're new here, I'm Stephanie Pinto and I'm an award-winning emotional intelligence coach, an international speaker and a best-selling author, and the host of the Emotionally Intelligent Parenting podcast. So this stuff is my jam. I love it way too much. I'm like an emotional intelligence nerd, and we're a family of 4 here in Sydney, Australia, and thank you for being here. So first off, this mum explained how she was at her wit's end. She lost it. She was yelling and calling her daughter names. And I have to say, this mum was not being cruel. I genuinely think she was overwhelmed. So overwhelmed that she got to that point. No one wakes up and thinks, how can I make my child's life awful today? How can I yell at them and shame them and take things away from them so that they get really mad at me and we argue? That's not happening. She's likely been carrying this for weeks or for months, right? Navigating school battles, shutdowns, maybe that talk back or the disrespectful behavior, and of course, screens. Now, let's flick over to her daughter. She is not just being naughty. She is not just being a brat. She is very likely overwhelmed too. Because you know what this screams of? Nervous system overload and like nervous systems crashing. It's not a character flaw and it is not a discipline issue. It is a dysregulation issue. So it goes without saying though that it is not okay for people to be calling each other names or yelling and attacking verbally or physically each other. Of course that isn't okay. However, we need to look at the deeper underlying root issue of like, why are people getting to that state? Why are they being pushed to that level of overwhelm or anger? Because people don't just wake up and decide to behave that way. So let me tell you guys about the comments. They were full of suggestions like, take her iPad away, no TV for a week, ground her, ban her from seeing her friends. She needs stricter consequences. Don't let her walk all over you. Oh my God, like it went on and on and on and on. This is classic behaviorism. Punish the behavior, control the child. That is so wildly outdated. Like it is widely accepted that is no longer best practice or even helpful when you are trying to understand and deal with challenging behavior. And obviously it also never ever works with a dysregulated nervous system and overloaded brain. All it does is teach fear, not skills. And it triggers shame, never growth. I want to throw a couple of ideas out here and get you guys to think about it. You'll see where I'm going with this. When a child escapes into a screen or they are on screens a lot, right? Could that potentially be the only place that they feel safe and in control, or where they're not getting told off or shamed for not doing well enough in class? And we have to be thinking like, why is this child struggling at school? Why are they finding it hard? Why do they not want to go? What is getting in the way? You guys may know the amazing Dr. Ross Green. These are some of his questions when we look at why is this child not meeting the expectation? Oh my God, if a child is feeling like school is really hard, or the friends are bullying or not including them or excluding them, whatever it is, like all of these reasons make a child not want to go to school, not want to participate. If I was in a workplace like that, I would be out of there. Like in a heartbeat. Kids don't have that option. They feel trapped, like they have to go to school because there's no other option. And so it just comes out in their behavior. They don't want to go, they avoid, they melt down, they argue. That's what happens. When kids are lashing out or melting down, that is not manipulation. That is communication through behavior. We have to look more clearly. It's like take off those bad old cloudy glasses. They're not working. Put on the right lens that helps you see beyond the behavior to what is actually driving it. Punishing just adds fuel to the fire. I hope you guys all know that by now. I talk about it a lot. It creates way more disconnection and less trust. I want you to think about if we use the same logic that some people in the comments were applying to the mum, she needs harsher consequences and stricter rules and take things off her. Imagine if we did that. This mum yelled at her daughter. She was letting her have it, right? She explained that in the post. Should she lose her phone? Or maybe be removed from her friends for a week? No way! It sounds so ridiculous. But also, if we did that, would that ensure that this mum's behavior, losing it at her daughter, would never ever happen again? No, because it was dysregulation, overwhelm, an overloaded system, maybe lack of support or lack of self-care, and probably a lack of skills to deal with that situation in a better or more productive way. Because remember, no one has taught us how to deal with our own emotions and regulate our own nervous system and communicate healthily and productively when there's conflict. So for all those people in the comments that I was scrolling through, I was like, this would backfire. That would backfire. Like in a heartbeat, I could see all of those things would have had absolutely no positive impact and actually a really, really negative, toxic impact. Okay, so I just want to take a second and say, if this is hitting close to home, maybe you've actually had one of those yelling in the car moments, or just where you snap and you lose it at your kids, and then you feel so guilty afterwards. Of course, you are not alone. I think every single parent has had one, actually many of those moments in their entire life. And the thing is, you are not failing, you just haven't been shown another way. And so I want to take a second and say, this is exactly the reason why I do what I do. I work with parents, I coach parents in emotional intelligence, how to do this stuff, because it's freaking hard. And I also have a specific course called From Reactive to Responsive Parenting. You guys can find all the details. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but please, I want you guys to access that. Please check all the details and the show notes so you can find all the information. It really helps parents to break the cycle, to understand their kids' behavior on a deeper level and build calmer, stronger relationships. And obviously, if you want more personalized support, then go for one-on-one coaching. Okay, here's what actually helps. Let's talk about what to do instead. And I just kind of want to make the point, I have the teeniest, tiniest scrap of information. It was on a social media post. So I know virtually nothing about this family and the dynamic and the larger situation. However, I want to leave a few points with you guys, just in case you're going through this as well, because I know these will really help. First one, regulate before you relate. I don't know if you guys have heard about Dr. Bruce Perry. He does so much around neuroscience and behavior and emotions. Regulate, relate, and then reason. Basically, it means first you need a person to be regulated, their nervous system to be calm and regulated before you can relate to them and connect with them so that they're listening and engaged. Then you can reason with them. Then you can access that higher part of their brain, the frontal lobe, the more complex cognitive skills in there, like empathy and perspective taking and conflict resolution and communication, all that good stuff. So first we have to allow both the parent and the child time to cool down before any discussion happens. Not when you're in the car and you're both about to flip your lid. No good will come of that. And after we have those moments where we absolutely snap and lose at our kids, we can name the rupture and then repair. We can say something like, you know what, honey, back in the car earlier, that was a huge moment. I love you. Let's talk about it when you're ready. Or I've even said to my kids, hey, you know what happened earlier in the kitchen and we both got really mad. Let's talk about it. Or I apologize for yelling, for losing it. I got really frustrated and that was on me. Also, we need to dial up our curiosity as parents. When things are not going right or not going well for our kids, there is always a reason, maybe several reasons. Rather than just trying to control, we have to be curious and go, I wonder what's getting in their way. I wonder what's hard for them. I wonder what's going on that I don't know about. We can ask our kids, what's feeling hard right now? What don't you like about school? If you could wave a magic wand and make something easier or something happen, what would that be? You will get so much good information, insightful data and information from your kids when you ask those questions. And also it actually shows that you have a lot of empathy and compassion saying, I want to help you because stuff is not working here. And so I love this idea of collaboration over consequences. Always collaborate, always try and problem solve, always try and see how can we make this better? What do we need to do to kind of get some ideas brainstorming about this situation or that situation. So maybe that looks like, let's figure out together what's making you go on screens so much, or why school is so hard, instead of just punishing screen time. If you've ever gone through moments like this, then please let me tell you, if you've lost it with your child, it does not mean the relationship is ruined. What matters most is what happens next. The repair, the reconnecting, the shift from control to connection. And parenting a neurodivergent child is especially intense. Please don't do it alone. I hope this has given you guys a different perspective, like a different way to look at that situation. Again, I'm looking from the outside in. It was a social media post, but when we look through some of those details, we can kind of see some gaps and we can see some moments of like opportunity. But I bet that this mum couldn't do that. That's why she did a post on social media, to kind of vent, to get it out there, to say, oh my God, like, has anyone else done this? Because I'm feeling really alone right now. And so that's why I want to say, please reach out. If you are watching this or if you are listening along to the podcast, you know that this is the stuff I weirdly really love and love to help parents with. It's the messy stuff, the chaotic stuff, the overwhelm and the guilt and everything. There are so many things we can do to help ourselves and our child and to get on the same page. If you found this helpful, please subscribe and drop a comment if you are watching on YouTube. I would love to know, have you ever been in a similar situation? How did you handle it? And if you're listening on the podcast, I am so grateful. If you could take a second to review the podcast and give it a star rating, that would mean the world. It really does help it push it out to more parents, and so that maybe they can get some support when they really need it the most. Okay, keep raising those emotionally intelligent kids and dialing up your own emotional intelligence. And remember, that does not mean you have to be a cool, calm, collected robot all the time. That is not what this is about. All right, don't forget to check the details. If you want info on the From Reactive to Responsive Parenting course, it's online. You can do it at your own pace. It is brilliant. I absolutely love it. And I get so many rave reviews about it. And I would love to see you get some support from it too. Okay, take care.